Rashida's name meant righteous, and as is common amongst our people, our parents and mentors pick our name upon maturity. I only wish that she had been named the Wise in whatever language her family brought to her fleet with them. If they had, my mentor would still be alive. Kamaria, named after the moon, would still be in my sky had our leader been more aptly named. That's the crack that Sabisa makes about Rashida. Rashida is the Grand Chiefess of the Peruvian colony. And through her mistakes in trusting Temelade, who is basically the Emperor Palpatine, the calamity happened and now everybody's running around rebuild or not get stomped into the dirt. So, Sabisa basically now lives in a cave with all of her books and stuff, and that's where she's telling the story from. And Rashida is out trying to help rebuild, and while they're still working together, there's a little bit of salt there.
Yeah. I kind of got that impression. That's cool,
Yeah,
though.
Sabisa is a little salty about that. But Rashida may not be the greatest judge of people. She's an absolutely fearless leader. She's very, very, very powerful. And not in the like, oh my god, I'm the white mage and I can like kill people. Like, no, she's actually, I will punch your face and send you flying through rocks kind of strong.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
She walks around with a meteor hammer, which is actually a chain weapon used in Kung Fu. Yeah, in real life, the ball is probably like got the size of a fist. Hers is the size of a warhammer. Yeah, and the whole thing is made out of furlift, so like when she's spinning it around, like there's like a big ass glow of whatever energy she has around her that just rips through everything that she comes across. She leads the charge as like a whirling tornado of just vengeance. Woe betide anyone that crosses her. She's definitely about that fool me once, shame on you kind of life.
This metal or whatever it was that they used to make magic, right?
Yeah, furlift
sort of-
steel.
That's it. Yeah. What is that?
Furlift Steel, to be quite honest, I basically named it because it sounded cool. It doesn't really have any like link to an actual language or anything.
Literally nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, everyone's
I think-
man, that sounds really cool though. And I was like, I got lucky with that. But yeah, Furlift is basically a material made out of like a certain crystal found in the mountains, and it is forged with a special herb. And what the herb does is it allows the user to channel more essence into it and pretty much turn it into kind of like a lightsaber, but solid. So you focus your essence into it, and then your essence changes colors based on the color of your soul or whatever. Like, as I said, the lore is very loose at the moment. The idea behind it is that the ghost and the monsters always regenerate if they're hit by any mundane source of damage. So if you don't have like magic or really strong kung fu, you need a Furlift steel weapon. You can hit them with arrows and guns and stuff, but the thing is, arrows and guns, they don't transfer essence at all. There has to be a physical connection to it. If you had a chain weapon or something and the blade part was Furlift, you could kill something from far away with that. But typically speaking, you're using hammers, swords, spears, that sort of thing, and they're all specially treated to kill monsters. Yeah, I wanted to make that as a lore-friendly reason for the game's focus on melee combat. The Ianfall are already like a spacefaring people. There would be like no reason for them to actually engage in physical combat where the things are like towering, gibbering malls of tentacles and claws and shit that are just ripping people apart. So I was like, nah, you need to get in there. Furlift Steel is the reason for that, basically. Just can't be like a team of snipers just like absolutely wrecking everything without any like actual danger or risk or anything like that. Realistically, that's exactly what you should do in that situation. Why the hell would you want to be near something that looks like Cthulhu midst of a dragon or some shit like that? Like,
Yeah.
like you don't want no parts of that, son. Like, this just get the fuck away. So Rashida's going to be a fun character.
Definitely.
What should her primary colors be?
Well, as I said, she's a tornado, which means that she would be a wind aspect. I'd probably say like gold.
I love
Gold
drawings
is
with
cool.
gold.
A lot of like African designs utilize gold too. Being that a lot of my characters are black, like I wanted to like reflect that in one of the characters, so that would be pretty cool. But the gold is also like lightning and shit. So like, when she channels her essence through her meteor hammer, it's basically she's just wielding a thunderstorm around her.
Oh, that is going to be a lot of fun to draw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so like the lightning is quick, but it also hits like a truck. Yeah, so she's big explosions instead of like really fast zips. Because like
Yeah.
lightning is usually depicted in one of two ways, where you're kind of like insta striking people, or like you're just hitting them wicked hard. She is very much the latter.
I would not want to get struck by lightning, knock on wood, but yeah, that sounds that sounds pretty badass.
Yeah, lightning is actually my greatest in real life fear. Like I've
Really?
almost been hit by lightning a few times. I feel like that was a sign to get my shit together.
Yeah, wow, I guess it doesn't get much clearer than that.
Yeah, like get your shit together because you're gonna die if
Oh
you
my God.
don't.
Oh my God.
So I was like, you know what? Let me get this game out before I die.
Well, I got to tell you, man, I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Yeah, same.
I'm glad you had the time to talk about it tonight. It's comforting to know that we're not going through this on our own, because a lot of what you had talked about wanting to finish something and the whole motivation behind starting the project and feeding in a lot of the experiences that you've had into it is very in line with what the two of us are trying to accomplish right now. It's all around this idea of essentially drawing a line in the sand and saying, look, we're not going to live forever. There's only so much time on the planet. You got to give your dreams a shot. And at some point, you can't keep saying maybe someday. At some point, you have to stop and just say it has to be today.
Yeah, you gotta do stuff like right then, right there, because people aren't gonna judge you by your potential. They'll judge you by what you put out. And like I thought that, wow, I have lots of potential to do all kinds of crazy stuff, but then I have like nothing to back it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I know how
like,
you feel. Yeah.
from like a professional's perspective, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna look at me and they're gonna be like, okay, he's a smart kid, but like, what does he have to show for it? It's just like getting a job. An employer is not going to look at you and be like, oh, well, Erin's a really nice girl. Let's hire her to like program all of our security systems the same.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where you know jack shit about programming, but you're cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's like resume building is for and stuff.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like you get that experience and you put out work for people to see and to consume. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
and then they can get like a better feel for like what you can do and what you're about. So like I wanted to show the world that I can be a game designer. You know what I'm saying? I've always wanted to design games since I was a kid. Like I'm really terrible at math. I can't program and I can't draw. But I'm pretty good at making ideas happen.
That's great. That's a really good skill.
I'm glad we found each other. This is a great opportunity for us to kind of get back into the art game a little bit. Before this year, essentially, I had basically come to a point where I said, I'm just not going to draw ever again, because I got frustrated with it. It was too difficult to manage with all the other things that I wanted to do. And I can't really put my finger on when exactly, but you get to a point where it's like, you're either going to do this or you're not. And when I had kind of made the decision where I didn't really want to do this anymore, it was almost like a pendulum kind of hitting one side where it was just all the way to the right, and then the thing just came swinging back the other direction. I was just like, no, I think this is the only thing I want to do. Thinking about a life without it was...
It's depressing,
Well, it's not just depressing. It was almost like why go on?
What's the point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, I didn't really want to go on without being able to make stuff all the time. And I gave myself a thought experiment. And I was just like, you know what? What if I took all that same effort that I put into my job and put that into my art? What would I get? I'm essentially here to answer that question. I don't know, but I'm going to find out.
Yeah, let's find out, man. I think it'll be fun.
Well, it won't be boring. That's for sure.
More fun than the alternative, probably, which is not finding out. And being like my father, who just wanted to be a musician. He was always regretting that he didn't go into music, and he was not a very happy person.
Yeah.
Not to bring my daddy issues into it, but
It's stories like that eventually get you to like turn around and be like, you know what? I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to end up 30 years from now still asking what if or what I could have done if I had made different decisions. I want to find out now.
Yeah.
Yeah. What ifs are pointless. What ifs do not get you your dreams.
Exactly.
What I did does.